Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Purnima Tokis and I shall be your host today. We are back today with the first episode in a special edition of the Digital Dialogues, a strategy solutions webinar series sponsored by Dell Technologies, Microsoft, and Intel. Today, we will engage with IT leaders and solution experts from the world of consulting, digital entertainment, and endpoint devices for a better appreciation of how connected workspaces can foster business continuity, innovation, and revenue increase. In keeping with the theme of today's webinar, we will start with a fireside chat with Mr. Harnath Babu, CIO, KPMG India, and Dr. Said Pirzadeh, Group Chief Information Officer, Reliance Entertainment, anchored by my colleague, Mr. Arjun Vishwanathan, Chief Research Officer, Strategy Solutions. So now, without further ado, I hand you over to Mr. Arjun Vishwanathan, Chief Research Officer, Strategy Solutions, to engage with our two eminent IT leader guests. Over to you, Arjun.
Hello and welcome to the Digital Dialogues, Reshaping Tomorrow. In this episode, I'm joined by industry leaders par excellence to discuss matters that are clearly about how the world of work is changing, how concepts and emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, automation, and perhaps robotics will make this shift as significant as the mechanization in prior generations in perhaps varied industries like agriculture, manufacturing, entertainment, media, and services, and so on and so forth. To discuss this and more, I am joined today, and please join me in welcoming Dr. Syed Pirzadeh, Group CIO, Reliance Entertainment. Syed, welcome. Delighted you could join us today.
Yeah, it is delighted to join too, and indeed good to see you after a long time, Arjun.
Indeed, sir. And Harnath Babu, Chief Information Officer, KPMG India. Harnath, privileged that you could join us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arjun, for having me here. Good to see you again.
Absolutely, Chief. And gentlemen, given the 35 minutes that we have, I'm directly going to jump into this. And Harnath, with your permission, if I could come to you first in no specific order. Harnath, if we were to take the last 10 odd months or perhaps last year as the background with which, or the one that we will use to peer into the future and to forge more confident strides ahead with an industry, how, in your view, Harnath, are you seeing changing enterprise priorities and responsibilities, and how revenue enhancements are clearly the new norm? How are you kind of foreseeing or looking at that journey being orchestrated?
Yeah, thanks, Arjun. I think it's a very good question. And again, if you've seen in last 10 months, I think the COVID pandemic has really changed the way businesses have been working, right? I think businesses around the world have been facing the disruption, and certainly they've been trying to cope up with it, right? So companies have been wrestling actually to reach to the next normal very safely, right? And they're really trying to build for the new normal from a long-term perspective, right? And they want to be more stronger and more resilient. I think this certainly has taught most of the companies, or in fact, all the companies, on the relevance of staying resilient. I think that's important, right? And how do you continue to survive and prosper in the future? So I think if you look at some of the key priorities the enterprises have been looking at is focus on digitization. I think, and again, it's all about building digital capabilities for the new normal, which is the next new normal. Uh, if you look at KPMG point of view, we've been accelerating a lot of digital transformation priorities, looking at some of the emerging technologies like AI, RPA, BI, data analytics, to improve businesses, operations, etc. Right? And it's all about decision making, right decision making. It's about boosting the development of various skills that are there in the firm to make sure that we are able to reach to our customers efficiently. Second is the collaboration, right? So I mean, once we hit the issue of the pandemic, I think it was important for us to work from wherever we were, right? I think we quickly turned around and said how collaboration can be leveraged in the new normal, and and see how collaboration becomes the key priority for the organization in the future, right?
Very
Uh,
interesting.
yep. And also look at how collaboration can be leveraged by not only staying apart dealing with the pandemic, but also staying closer. So if you look at the very design of the organizations are changing, right? It's not anymore about the hierarchical organization. It's about network of teams, right? Teams could be sitting anywhere, everywhere, and practically collaborating and working and delivering for the clients. And the productivity obviously has really gone up. The third thing, obviously, is the hybrid approach, right? So when the pandemic came in, we had to deal with people working from home. As we are resuming back to the normal, we are also seeing people wanting to come back. Obviously, there's a fatigue of working from home, right? So people want to come back, but people are not also very open to coming back to their base locations. As an example, right? Somebody could be, let's say, living in Kochi. Their parents could be living in Kochi, and actually working in, let's say, Kolkata or a Bangalore, right? He need not come to a Bangalore or a Kolkata, but can continue to stay close to the office, right? Which is another office in Kochi, and rather than work from there. So that dependency obviously is going away. So it's a very, very hybrid working environment that we're looking at. And
Hey,
certainly,
because with your permission, I am going to take that to Syed. Syed, Harnath made a couple of very, very interesting points. He spoke about the whole concepts of enterprise resilience and therefore the need for a hybrid model of working and therefore enhanced productivity. Now, with enhanced productivity and from the media space that you're from, Syed, how are you kind of orchestrating this whole concept of productivity if that were to be at the center with the enterprise works expectations versus the workforce expectations?
See, first of all, I wanted to say enterprise priorities per se as a business are not changed, correct?
True.
The way we are conducting business may have changed for lots of the organizations. But of course, the enterprises are there to generate revenues. We always generate revenues. But the way we conduct business, the way the employees work, the way teams work towards certain tasks or certain goals has been changed because of this pandemic and all. We are aware. See, I totally agree with Harnath on um, digital transformations. Of course, digital transformations is no more an optional agenda for me. Correct. The digital transformation is the only way towards business continuity at that present, and it is going to continue. It was there. The adaptation was there from the last decade or so. If you see, and it take more pace towards this pandemic, and then it will continue forever. So to achieve the goals of productivity, be it enterprise or workforce, um, the transformation should be organizational wide and carry a business goals. Correct. When we get into realm of strategy, we need to look at things from the lens of the consumer. With respect to the consumer, the digital transformation is so complete, that it has in many ways redefined the grammar of the storytelling
Indeed.
to the extent that digital content is the mother of genre or umbrella category. Digital transformation is the key now. So when we talk about smack stack adaptation or BRIDA, blockchain, robotics, automation, IoT, digital fabrications, AR, there may be lots of technology play in the background. But for me, it is about business empowerment. So, of course, the enterprises and workforce, when they are working towards the same goal, I don't see any difference between the expectations from the both.
Interesting, because Harnath, I'm going to bring that same question to you with a small rejoinder of sorts, which is that while enterprise expectations vis-a-vis workforce expectations, like Syed clearly said, may or may not differ. The importance is also to embed the digital fabric or an understanding of the digital fabric at an enterprise-wide level. How do you kind of see that interplay happening?
Arjun, so I think if you look at the enterprises, if you're treating technology as one of the side components of the business, I think it's not going to be working like that, right? I think technology, all of us understand now, and with the new ways of working, it obviously has become one of the key fabrics of the organization. And if you look at purely from a workforce expectation to enterprise expectations, I think somewhere they are converging very well, right? I think one of the biggest changes that we have seen is the way employers and workforce are actually thinking about technology, right? and they've really stopped, thinking the old ways of working. They don't want to come back to the old ways of working, right? So if you look at purely from a workforce expectation point of view, with the millennials and Gen Z in the workforce, right? The transformation has already had started in the past, right? I mean, it's not that it's something new because of the COVID that has come in. It's all about the transformation which has happened in the past. Now suddenly it has accelerated, right? As Satya Nadella said, 2 years of transformation happened in 2 months, right? I think that's what we are seeing in the enterprises today. Employees are looking at flexible working, right? It's not anymore about where you're sitting and working. It's about what you're working on, right? You could be working from anywhere, right? It's not about 9 to 5 rigid work schedule. It's actually work practically 24/7. You are available, you're working. I think that's the change that is happening, right? And that's exactly what workforce is also saying, that we are flexible to work. Enterprises also should be flexible to kind of take our services in that way, right? And third thing is from a technology. Let's say if you look at from a technology provider in an organization, which means that you have to be available for your people 24/7, right? When people are coming back to the offices, it's all about following a very employee centric approach, right? You can't be saying that I'm going to be working the same way what used to happen in the past, right? The new normal needs have to be addressed of the employees. I think that's what employees are saying, that when we come back, our safety should be given high priority.
High priority.
Right? Our skill set that we had picked up in the past, the employer has to reskill us, right? Make us more future ready. I think that's the expectation from the
Employee.
employees perspective, or let's say workforce point of view. And from an
Great.
enterprise point of view, right, it's all about how do I continue to leverage my distributed workforce. It's not anymore, as I said, it's not anymore about people sitting in one office. It's about completely distributed workforce. The practices that are required to speed up the whole decision making, you have to rethink about that. The policies have to really think about, right? And the innovation has to continue in the new normal, where you are having the workforce spread across, right? And make sure that employees are easily able to uh, deliver what is expected out of them, right? They continue to stay productive irrespective of wherever they are. And obviously employers are probably looking at more safety measures and things like that. I think that's how. So there's a convergence between both the mindsets at this point.
That is exactly what I'm going to bring to you, Syed, this convergence. And therefore, it's very fascinating, isn't it? In your view, with this dispersed workspace, a dispersed workforce, how do you see human capital and technology? And when I say technology, I'm talking about collaboration tools, productivity tools. How do you see the two converge together to well, affect superior business outcomes?
Uh, the answer is in your question. They have to uh, converge together. Okay. Specifically, the diversified businesses where I am handling the global business. So already my business is diversified. Okay. Uh, for my business, I don't have to do much because the collaborative tools, the transformation tools, and everything was there in place before this pandemic happened. So I don't have to do much more because anyways I need to connect to other guy, my team sitting in US through any of the collaborative tool only. Before COVID also, now also I'm doing the same. The only aspect change for me is from the sitting in a centralized place like Pune and Bombay, where my team was sitting, I have distributed to their home. The I've extended those tools to their home. That's what I have done. So I think I again bring the same point where when you do a transformation or bringing any digital tools into your organization, be it for business or be it for employee productivity, it should be we should be brought enterprise wide. It should not be brought in bits and pieces. Okay, so that will definitely benefit because it benefited me. Indeed, it's advice from me for any CIOs looking into it. And of course, when you don't have a much change in your environment, for example, before this call, we are discussing on we have two form of businesses where we have a digital business, we have a physical business like film making and all content making. On the content making, I don't have to do anything, right? Because anyway, it's a physical work to do. Actor have to come, they have to shoot and all that. The thing we need to do is we need to take a hygiene. Of course, I have changed the process of bringing the data from sets to my pre-production things by temporary lines and all that. But anyways, we used to do it earlier also in remote places. And somewhere we have stopped shooting where we can't do the connectivity, because we can't bring the physical hard disk here because there's travel restrictions earlier. Now things are a little bit normal. However, when it comes to digital business, it's running fantastic to me, because it, those businesses are perfectly made for these situations, I suppose. Where the content weaving has increased from home, and my people are working from home. I don't have to go to physically data center because the things are on cloud. So absolutely, it's a business dependent aspect. But yes, collaborative tools should converge with the process, because that will definitely enhance the productivity. And of course, it has to be brought organization wide. When we start thinking bits to pieces, we are in trouble.
Harnath, it's been clearly established the connected workspace is perhaps one that we have been aspiring to for the longest time. And its byproducts are superior productivity, enhanced efficiencies, and therefore superior business outcomes. Now, within all of this, when you look at collaboration tools as well as productivity tools, and there are multiple such tools and solutions available to us. How do you picture the device, the humble sentinel, at the center of all of it? And what do you think is its fundamental criticality to this transformative journey that one has undertaken? Or do you think of it in a different manner?
So Arjun, if I'm being specific about a device, so I think the power of a device has changed in last. I'm certainly in few years, right? And the change has been driven primarily because of the consumerization of devices, right? We have seen very, very powerful devices that are coming in the market where people are using in their own personal lives. They are experiencing the speed with which the devices are able to process their own personal data, or the entertainment or experience, if you actually say it that way, right? And if you have to just replicate that in enterprise, the pressure on the enterprise obviously is way too high, because they also have to meet the expectations of the employees when they come into the offices and working. And again, I mentioned about the fact that the generation Z and the
The
millennials
millennial.
millennials have been really driving that push from an enterprise perspective as well, right? And if you look at collaboration, I think last 9-10 months have actually changed the way enterprises have been using collaboration to drive their own business, right? Be it schools, which obviously are driving the education online, to enterprises or organizations who are using technology, especially collaboration tools, to make sure that the productivity continues to be at the top, right? If you look at our point of view, let's say from a KPMG point of view, when we went into the lockdown, uh, we never realized that collaboration was so high in the organization. And the statistics that I can talk about is within the first month of going completely online with the collaboration tools, we were practically clocking almost 1.4 million meeting minutes a day,
Wow.
right?
A
So that's
day.
the kind of a day, right? And almost 14,000 people on continuous collaboration meetings, right?
Wow.
Right? And we're talking about almost 6,000 meetings happening in a day. So if you see, these are the statistics in an organization like ours. If you talk about any other organization which has hundreds of thousands of employees, this could be in multiples of what I've just mentioned in terms of statistics. So certainly, enterprises are leveraging the collaboration tools, and the only delivery capability that these collaboration tools can really leverage is the endpoint. If you have a poor endpoint, if you have an endpoint which doesn't have the capability to have an efficient collaboration, be it video, be it audio, be it the overall experience, I think it will not work, right? And as I said, enterprise machines, laptops, or it could be your mobile devices which enterprises are giving, they are actually competing with personal devices, right? I think that's where the whole world is going to be moving faster. And certainly, it's just not about collaboration experience; it's about the data processing. Because what used to happen earlier in the four walls of an enterprise now is practically happening outside, right? So if you talk about my organization, I have 27,000 factories.
Indeed, that's one way of looking at it, isn't it? Because, Harnath, with your permission, I'm going to then bring a very important question to Syed. Syed, the technology exists, the intent and the will exists. And therefore, do you think with superior and emerging technologies today, for example, artificial intelligence, machine learning, automation, bots, do you think technology by itself, in today's situation with a remotely dispersed workspace, do you think this technology is going to help accelerate the spirit and the journey of innovation to much larger degrees than would have been possible about a year back? Syed Pirzadeh.
Absolutely agree with this. There's no doubt about it because we are experiencing it in our business as well. However, we have taken this journey from last 4 to 5 years, I suppose, when we introduced analytics into gaming, which is one of our biggest revenue making LOB for entertainment. It's a global thing. So I collect probably 65 million events per day today. Okay. So of course, on your previous thing, devices, be it production devices or
Personal device.
use endpoint devices, of course, play an important role here also. When coming to AI and ML, yes, absolutely, because it's an era of data, correct? So, especially when everybody is working on digital devices, the data is getting generated. What Harnath told, the kind of minutes of
Meetings that were being clocked.
Clocked, which we not used to do when we physically in the office, right? We have that data now. We do that kind of meetings was not there today. So of course it's an opportunity for the enterprise as well as the production as a business to do more on this space. So currently what I'm doing is I understood the importance of it. Of course, AI and ML things have been brought about 3 to 4 years back for us. Now, currently, what I'm doing is I'm doing a stream computing kind of a thing using Apache Flix. I want to understand because we have seen 50% of increase of our user base in last 10 months, especially from US and UK.
Content consumption has gone up, shot through the roof. I'm given.
Yeah, and what we thought 10 months back, we implemented a good technology now becoming obsolete because I'm not able to get the real-time data, or I'm not able to get the real-time actually what's happening in the game. Okay, so that's why I'm changing that environment now. I'm going to more realistic, more real-time thing using the technologies. So of course, these things will obviously play an important role.
I couldn't agree more with you, Syed. I couldn't agree more with you because I do have a view on the clock, gentlemen, and I know both of you have hard stops and hard schedules ahead. But Harnath, quickly, I'm going to come to you. Same question. Is technology therefore being able to enable us or give us the impetus or help catalyze the acceleration of innovation and therefore also competitiveness? Because I dare say competitiveness or hyper competitiveness is a must have trait within organizations today more than ever before, isn't it? Harnath Babu.
So Arjun, you're right. See, the emerging technologies obviously have really changed the way organizations are transforming themselves, right? I think it's not about leveraging some of the archaic technologies or proprietary technologies. If you see, I think there's been quite an adoption of open source technologies that are available. And I think the lead is being taken by some of these startups which have really come and disrupted the whole ecosystem. I think I think these guys have really been showing the light to some of the larger enterprises who are not been so resilient, or I would say who have not been so flexible from a adoption of new age technologies. And certainly that has driven the way organizations now are leveraging technology, right? And there are two aspects to it, right? One is the very idea of engagement with a customer, right? Or the system of engagements, right? What we have seen is there's a lot of disruption there, right? Because the customer is actually experiencing a lot of technology, which is, or the space that has been disrupted by some of the biggies who are using some of the emerging technologies, be it Amazon, be it in India context, Flipkart, Myntra. Some of these companies have been using emerging technologies, which obviously has created different level of experience. The second part, which is the backend part, which could be system of records to analytics. Again, these are being disrupted by the emerging technologies. You are building applications which are more modern, which are more conservation, not which are more conservative in nature, or in the context of, let's say, analytics, right? We're talking about heavy use, I would say, processing of data using the cloud technology, right? So I think there's been a bit of a balance of how the emerging technology is being used, but organizations are really leapfrogging with using of these technologies, especially in both the areas, both in front end as well as the back end.
As well as the back end. Gentlemen, my real last question to both of you, and I will come to you, Syed, first. When you look at reshaping tomorrow or reshaping Indian industry of tomorrow with the use of technology and therefore the convergence of human capital and technology, what are three single biggest transformations that you see that lie ahead and that which must be seized as the opportunity for Indian industry to move forward in a more resilient, in a more confident, and in a more growth oriented fashion? Three journeys that you see imperative and critical to the acceleration of Indian industry.
Overall, I see the transformations, business transformations are going to happen on a digital way. That there's no doubt about it. Okay. So when we choose about digital aspects in particular, I see AI and ML going to be a big, push going forward for every organization, because everyone has enough data, I suppose, now from last 10 months to understand their business well. Whoever into a digital business, or we have started digital business, or thinking of digital business, they have ample amount of data to understand what exactly is the user behavior, how we have to make a business resilient, agile, flexible, and all that. I see one big thing I want to bring here is for Make in India concept, right? For Indian industries, I see lots of we are still dependent on the organizations like AWS, Google, or Azure to get into a complete end-to-end solution as a platform. Okay, so I want Indian data centers to come up with whoever providing the cloud solution has to develop that habit of providing the end-to-end solution. They have to develop a platform. Have to bring a one-stop solution. So that's going to be a major change, I suppose, going forward. I'm not talking about media. I'm talking about data centers here, right? And of course, RPA and yeah, that's going to be because again, when we are talking about remote workplace, people understood what exactly is a repetitive job as well, right? So I think more and more organizations are thinking of automating that so that the human power can be used for more creative things. Okay, so that's what my viewpoint is.
Thank you, Syed. Thank you, Syed. Harnath, same question.
Yeah,
Three imperative Indian industry.
So Arjun, I think somewhat agree with Syed, and certainly I think in my mind, three things that I can think of is first the digital transformation, right? I think this is now a necessity, not a choice, right? I think organizations will have to transform themselves, relook at their own business models in which they've been running so far, and possibly a new business model has to be thought of. Primarily, digital being the center of the business itself, right? That's one. Second thing that I can think of is customer first mindset, right? Everybody now has to only think about customer, right? Customer has choice. Customer will be with you if he or she is comfortable sticking around with you. If not, obviously they'll move to the competition. I think that's the second thing that the organizations have to think of, which may mean that they may have to start leveraging emerging technologies, right? And somewhere linked to the first point, but they have to start leveraging emerging technologies and make sure that you are able to stitch your processes and experience for the customer in such a way that everything becomes seamless. Third thing is, which I think to my mind, considering the current situation and the future, reskilling is going to be one of key aspects that's going to be driven by the Indian enterprises, especially for dealing with the new normal. And some of the key skill sets that I can think of is the very idea of adaptability, right? If you have a similar situation in future, what you do? Resilience, right? I mean, you have a problem, similar situation. Again, how will you continue to stay resilient and come quickly bounce back, right? Make sure that your people become more creative, because if your basic jobs are going to be taken over by robots, right, or RPAs or AI ML, then how you have to leverage your people? It has to be more
How are you keeping
creativity, right?
yourself relevant?
Exactly. It's about innovation and agility, right? You have to be more agile. You have to have a frugal mindset again, right? I mean, if I have money, I'll obviously spend. But if I do not have money, how do I continue to innovate? I think that's the frugal mindset I'll have to obviously develop. And I would say, last but not the least, being conversant with technology. The future is going to be technology. Organizations have to transform themselves using technology. If your people are not conversant with technology, it won't fly, right? You have to make them conversant in technology. So I think some of these factors are going to be driven in future, and it's very, very near to my mind, and not very far.
Thank you, gentlemen. But that pretty much is what we have time for in this segment. And Dr. Pirzadeh, Harnath, it has been nothing short of a privilege having been in dialogue with you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arjun. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the audience, folks, I was in conversation with Harnath Babu and Syed Pirzadeh. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the next segment in just a moment.
Thank you, panelists and Arjun. Excellent takeaways for IT and digital transformation leaders from that discussion, I must say. Dear delegates, do remember to fill out the feedback form at the end of today's webinar. Your feedback is invaluable as it helps us improve the content, structure, and presentation of our webinars and virtual conferences. Ladies and gentlemen, our next session is an interesting panel discussion with workplace solutions experts from Microsoft and Dell Technologies. Strategy and Chief Research Officer Mr. Arjun Vishwanathan will be in conversation with Mr. Saji Kumar, Director of M&A Alliances at Microsoft India, and Mr. Rajat Jain, Director, Client Solutions North and East Corporate and Public Business, Dell Technologies India. They will discuss how businesses should reimagine the benefits that accrue from refresh and upgrade of endpoint infrastructure and what the new lifecycle management of devices will look like in the current environment. Over to you, Arjun, and guests.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Arjun Vishwanathan, and today I'm going to be in conversation with eminent subject matter experts from industry. Please join me without further ado in welcoming Rajat Jain, Director Client Solutions North and East Corporate and Public Business, Dell Technologies. Rajat, welcome. Delighted that you could join us.
Thank you, Arjun. Pleasure.
Thank you. And Saji Kumar, Director M&A, Microsoft India. Saji, welcome. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. And thank you, Rajat and Dell team, and also Arjun for inviting me for this wonderful conversation. Happy to be
Always a pleasure,
part of
Saji.
this. Yeah,
Always a
thank you.
pleasure. And gentlemen, given the time frames that we have and the time limit, and I do know you have busy schedules ahead during the day, I'm going to directly jump into it. Over the past 10, 11 odd months now, the revelation or the realization that technology can do so much more in helping organizations become more resilient, become more efficient, drive more collaboration, more productivity towards the overall end achievement of superior business outcomes has fairly been established. Uh, with your permission, Rajat, I am going to come to you. How at Dell Technologies are you viewing this entire transformation of this realization of the evolution journey of how organizations and enterprises are viewing technology to drive better collaboration and productivity and therefore drive more innovation? Rajat Jain.
So let's step back a little bit and see what was happening until 8 months back, right? So it we were talking about transformation. It was more of a transition that organizations were going through, right? We always talked about, we're going through digital transformation, but there were baby steps that were taken towards that transformation per se. And organization used to say, yeah, we are prepared for BCP, business continuity, right? And we had this situation, and all of a sudden the organizations realized that BCP theoretically looked very, very good. On paper it was perfect, but when it came to getting employees working from home 100%, it was a big struggle, right? And the other part was that the transformation or the transition they were going through really had to be a transformation, because they, instead of years altogether, they had a few weeks time to go about it. So that has changed the mindset of organizations on, making sure that the IT is supporting the existing business most of the time and spending some time on innovation. If you talk to the CEOs, the COOs, and the CIOs today, the priority is absolutely different. They are looking at IT to be the backbone. We
Yeah.
always used to say IT is one of the limbs, right? But today they are saying IT is the backbone. Unless they have the right tools, the right infrastructure today, unless they have the right mindset to innovate in this area, today most of them believe that they will be laggards. Pick any industry. Manufacturing used to say that IT is not my core. You go to manufacturing today and they will say, I will not serve, my top 10 priorities are all related to IT.
Technology has almost become existential now.
It is, so that's the major change that we've gone through. We can delve deeper into this, but if you look at the surface, this is what it looks like. you know and then workforce transformation, we used to say that there is absolutely no way people could be productive without being in office. Yeah. And today you talk to your HR, your CEOs, your CEOs, and they will say that the employees are more productive than ever, and they are not looking at getting 100% of the employees back to the office.
It's very fascinating that you make this statement because, with the permission, Saji, I am going to come to you. And Rajat made a very interesting point. He spoke about mindsets and he spoke about the whole concepts of collaboration, productivity. But isn't it also true? And I'd like to seek your views from a Microsoft perspective. But how the whole impact of technology has suddenly allowed organizations and the workforce to not just do more in terms of volume, but also do better in terms of quality.
I think, Arjun, I couldn't agree more on what my friend Rajat has mentioned. Let me take a cue from there, right? So, technology, or if you look at any vertical today, like Rajat mentioned, whether it's manufacturing or anything of that sort, IT is not an isolated department anymore. It used to be viewed as a separate business unit in any organization. But today, if you look at technology, has to be part of the overall growth strategy of the company. Like the way you look at the CEO, I think CIO, or the technology lead of any organization plays a key role, because technology will be very paramount to the overall growth strategy of the company. And this question is today much more relevant, because whatever we have seen in the last 9 months, the kind of pandemic which has hit, the unprecedented era we all went through, which we never expected in our lifetime, right? See, Microsoft see this in three phases, right? What we call as the response, recovery, and a reimagination phase. Response is nothing but when we all, kind of a knee-jerk reaction or a response we all suddenly did when the pandemic hit us, right? Then the next 3-4 months was a recovery phase. Today we are out of that. Today we have to reimagine how we are going to run the business. That is where technology plays a very key role as such. Somebody, I was reading an article where somebody put it very beautifully, right? Look at hotel industry. Did we ever think technology will be playing a very key role in a hotel industry? Because that is one of the most affected industries, which you all know, which we all talk about. While there are every industry which has an indirect impact, but if you look at hotel industry, is one of the most affected during the pandemic, right? In their own language, they say that think of preparing a meal which has a recipe based on your ingredients which you already had, and that ingredients is nothing but your historical data, if you look at from an IT standpoint, right? But those ingredients are already spoiled, so you cannot cook a meal with those ingredients which are already spoiled. So having the right data is a fantastic way to improve your so-called revenue management system or whatever it is, but that is not enough today. There are so many other vital elements which are there which will make you successful and profitable. It is not just about the RMS, it's about automation, it's about artificial intelligence. Because in today's world, agility, scalability, and automation will definitely be the watchwords for this new era of business. And those that have these capabilities will definitely be the future winners. That
Very
is where,
powerful.
you know,
That's a very
that
powerful
is that. Yeah, that is where the partnership like Microsoft and Dell and these kind of industry leaders will play a key role in the business transformation phase.
Very, and like I'm reiterating the fact that that's a very powerful narrative because Rajat, I'm going to come to you with a very important question for the benefit of the audience, this wonderful audience that's tuning into us today, which is that enterprise outcomes of and superior business outcomes of revenue growth, profitability, innovation, invention, all of them are clearly being realized. But there's also something that's very important. So while we speak about this whole concepts of collaboration, productivity, innovation, the workforce experience is equally at the center of all of it. And all the more so today because it's a dispersed, decomposed workspace or a workplace, really. And there isn't a workplace really. How are you at Dell, along with your partnership with Microsoft and the larger ecosystem, how are you powering organizations to also affect superior workforce experience? Rajat Jain.
Yeah, so look at it. So what's changed in this environment is that the boundaries have diminished. Getting the right talent has become so much easier because you don't have to look at the physical location of an employee.
Indeed.
So that's where I want to start. So the boundaries are diminishing. How it is changing is that you know start with the obviously you start with the devices have become so much more important because that's where you're creating an experience for the employees.
Indeed.
Now let's come to the tools, the collaboration tools, which used to be a tertiary mode of communication, right, have become a primary tool. Look at the way Microsoft has ramped up the Teams software. They look at the other collaboration software, the way they've ramped up, and the what all you can do on a virtual platform today was unimaginable probably 8 months back. Then you look at the way infrastructure is changing. The network layout, the architecture for any organization has changed so much because no longer using your data center so much, right? The employees are not connecting to the LAN so much anymore, right? How you enable that? Then the cloud strategy has been changing. What is the right cloud strategy is being evaluated, I'll say, in the true sense now. It was all trial basis until now they are evaluating with a new environment what makes sense. And then the security parameters and perimeter both have changed. A security which used to be restricted to the office environment and the VPNs used to do the trick most of the times.
It's all over the place.
It's changing, right? That's why I'm saying the perimeter has changed, right? And people are looking, the organizations are looking at security in a very, very different way. Then the support, your infrastructure, your device support, everything is changed. Previously, you could just walk up to the IT desk and say, I have a problem. Could you fix it for me? Right? Today, none of the employees can do that. The support models are going to change. They are changing, but they're going to change drastically. Right. So these are a few changes which are taking effect. That's where we are working with our customers to make sure that they have the right devices, the right tools, the right infrastructure, the right security tools, and then finally the right support model.
Interesting. Because Saji, I come to you with the same question, sir, which is really that if you were to look at 2020, the year 2020 as the background with which organizations today have learned their lessons and are therefore moving forward, how are you at Microsoft and of course in your overall partnership ecosystem enabling innovation that will help organizations across industry to forge more resilient, confident, and growth-based journeys going forward? Saji Kumar.
Yeah, I think if you look at Satya Nadella, our CEO said, right, people no more respect tradition, but they respect only innovations. See, like we said, I touched upon in my previous question also, the IT department plays a very key role than ever before. That should be part of the overall strategy because customer-centric approach should be the success formula today. Look at Microsoft, right? We have also brought in a lot of transformational change in the way we work in the overall partner ecosystem, including our competitors. It is important to work across platforms and also with partners widely. While collaboration is a word which we hear every day in and day out, there are many essential principles which make the collaboration very, very effective. That is where you need to be having the right set of tools. Unless you are well aligned, you have a very structured collaborative tool, you get diverse, you get more active, and also at the same time, this is what Microsoft believe, you have to be human as well. So it is therefore very important to build a collaborative tool which gives you a successful work environment, create a clear and compelling cost, and it should also communicate your expectations to your own employees, right? And this establishes a long-term goal, which will encourage innovation within your own set of employees.
Because I do have a view on the clock, gentlemen, but Rajat, it would be an injustice, a travesty, really, if I didn't come to you with this question. The concepts of collaboration, productivity, efficiency, innovation, quite often we are at fault in banding about as mere terms. But in actual sense, they are fairly complex journeys leveraging technology investments, traditional mindset changes, and an overall transformative approach to actually affect on the ground. And I'm speaking from the enterprise point of view. Now, you are at the center of sales. How, Rajat, are you advising organizations to approach this journey? Because it's well, quite often than not, it's easier for us because it's all we have to do is talk about it. But what is your essential guidance to organizations that would like to reap the benefits of the solutions that Dell along with Microsoft and your overall partner ecosystem bring about?
So the discussion started with how we get the employees for our customers working immediately. That was a discussion we were having for the first 2 to 3 months.
Yes,
The
indeed.
conversations have changed drastically now. We are talking about the new, I'll say, structure that the organizations are going to have when it comes to how are they going to get the employees back to work, how many employees are going to get back to work, what is their infrastructure like, will like, will it be a complete 100% public cloud, will it be a private, or it has to be a hybrid, you know what is it that they're, you know the overall, what is the overall policy they have for security, how's that changing now? Collaboration, Saji very beautifully mentioned, right, how collaboration has changed. Now, while we talk about, the collaboration tools in terms of the virtual connection tools, right? Let me, take from, probably talking on behalf of Saji, right? O365, the adoption has gone up so much, more. The adoption has been fast paced so much more that people used to say, oh, 365, okay, I can look at it, we'll look at it at a later stage. I'm okay with an on-premise, the office professional version most of the time, right? Then you look at the way they had been looking at standardization. It's not
Indeed.
about standardization anymore, it's about what makes sense for my employees. I'm okay to, move away from standardization to an environment which is a little more diverse, but my employees should be happy. My user experience is extremely important. My IT should not face problems from users talking about productivity issues, talking about, connectivity issues. How much more important is, 5G now for us? While we see it's some distance away, 5G is becoming so much more important. IoT is becoming so much more important. The adoption of immersive technologies. Customers are talking about, how do I make sure even if my users are not in the office, they're part of the discussions, right? While we talk about these collaboration tools, the more immersive technologies like VR, AR are going to pick up so much more. The way the decisions are taken will change drastically, make way for, I'll say, information based decision making, which comes from complex AI and ML tools. It will not be, intuitive so much, right? It'll come on what are the usage patterns for your users, for your infrastructure, and then take decisions on the go. So organizations are talking about how do I make myself future ready and future proof both.
Very true and very, very wisely put because I genuinely do have a view on the clock. Sajid, I want to come to you with perhaps what promises to be the last question, which is I want your views and your essential guidance to this wonderful audience today and to Indian industry by itself. The concept of connected workspace has now shifted to the concepts of the connected workforce. Now, coming from your Microsoft perspective, what is your essential guidance to organizations how they should even approach this journey?
I think, Arjun, very wonderful question. In this age of lightning speed connectivity, right? It's not just about the connected devices, but also the connected infrastructure, which plays a very, very key role in the emerging fields of whether you call it IoT or AI or blockchain or whatever it is, right? Because flexibility is the key word. It's no more going to be just a 9 to 5 job, 5 days a week kind of thing, right? That's not what the millennials or the so-called Generation C, what we call it as, right, expect to do. See, the modern engineering creates a culture, tools, and practices focused on developing very high quality, secure, and feature rich services. I will repeat, it's very, very important. Not just high quality infrastructure, but secure. Rajat spoke about security as a thing, and a feature rich services which enables digital transformation. A clearly defined set of objectives addressing business problems and opportunities is the starting point for any organization wanting to engage in a digital transformation space. So look at Microsoft, right? We have something called as CSCO, or Microsoft Services and Engineering Organization. The initiative itself is helping uh, the organizations to be more customer obsessed, accelerate delivery of new capabilities, and improve their engineering productivity. So that is the whole motive behind this entire business unit. Say, for example, Microsoft, our move to the cloud enables us to increase the overall agility and development of the process, thereby accelerate the productivity. So the what I said, right, the connected, not just the connected devices, but the entire infrastructure plays a very, very key role in this modern age of lightning speed and connectivity.
Outstanding, outstanding. Thank you, Saji. That was actually quite powerfully put. But that pretty much is what I have time for. I would like to thank you for establishing what has come out very clearly, and I'm sure the audience will resoundingly agree, is that collaboration, flexibility, productivity are more than just terms anymore. I mean, they perhaps are the very pillars that need acceleration in the days and weeks to come. Indeed, perhaps these pillars being the constituting elements or the vectors that organizations are clamoring for today, which is agility and superior business outcomes. But thank you so very much, Saji. Thank you, Rajat. It was nothing short of a delight speaking with you.
Thank you, Arjun, and thank you, Rajat. Wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saji. Thank you, Arjun.
That was a truly insightful deep dive. Thank you, Mr. Kumar and Mr. Jain. Thank you, Arjun, for bringing us another absorbing conversation with IT experts. It was a revelation how modern device, form factors, running bots, and machine learning algorithms can help deliver entirely new measures of value to improve worker productivity, output quality, and business profitability. Dear delegates, do remember to fill out the feedback form at the end of today's webinar. Your feedback is invaluable as it helps us improve the content, structure, and presentation of our webinars and virtual conferences. That's all we have for you. We hope you enjoyed this webinar on Reshaping Tomorrow with modern client solutions that we brought you today. On behalf of Dell Technologies, Microsoft, Intel, and Strategic Solutions, I thank you for attending, and our panelists and expert speakers for enriching us with experience and insights. We look forward to you joining us for our next episode of the Digital Dialogues on 19 January 2021. Until then, take care and stay safe. May your workforce be empowered and may your workplace be enriched with the right tools to develop new creative solutions to solve customer problems. This is Purnima Tokas signing off on behalf of Strategic Solutions.